They told me for years there was no money in podcasting. Well, they were all wrong.
So you launched it in the pandemic,
Yes.
which a lot of people did, which, kudos to everyone who did, because listen, pandemic hit, it was a reset button for the entire world, and some people took the torch and ran with it, like we did. Some people just kind of waited it out. So what was it like launching a business in the pandemic? And what was some of the what were some of the blessings in disguise from the pandemic, and how did all that come to be?
So for me, it was really helping people who had their businesses in person for so long to convert over to just everything online. There were so many people who were lost, because you would think in today's day and age, everybody would be very technically advanced, and have the, know with how to do a simple Zoom meeting. You would be floored to find out how many people just cannot do it. They're still pen and paper. They're not on with the most recent technology. And even there's so much technology out there, and it's constantly changing at a New York minute. And even still, I struggle sometimes keeping up with some stuff. I mean, there are hundreds of CRMs out there that businesses utilize, which is your customer relationship management software for the average layman. We shorten it down to CRM. And even then, there are some very big ones. And I know those now, but there was a learning curve. And there is still a learning curve, because I come across clients all the day that'll pop up and use brand new ones that I've never heard before. So, helping people during the pandemic make that crossover was really great, because it really helped boost my business quickly. If I launched my business prior to the pandemic, I don't think I would have as much business as I do, because a lot of people weren't utilizing it to the best of their abilities. Now, I think a lot of business are finding out they can do a lot more being online more, which there's a catch to that. So as you mentioned, being in person, shaking hands, that makes real connections. And if you don't know how to do it over a screen, that can be a lot harder to overcome. So there's the pros and the cons to it. But if you can emphasize those pros, you're good to go.
Oh, for sure. So I'm interested. So you kind of built this business through the lens of the pandemic. Great benefit to you, because like you said, people still don't know how to use Zoom. I deal with it every single day. I'm like, you gotta go to your audio settings. You see that carrot, like little up arrow next to the microphone? No, the microphone. It looks like this, right? Like people just don't know. 2 years in, they still don't know. And most, not shame on old people, but most of them are older people, which is to be expected. But, I didn't know Zoom. Zoom was a learning curve for me as well. I can't tell you how much technical expertise I picked up over these past 2 years, which is really a blessing, because I came from a studio background. My actual 9-to-5 job was in a studio in Times Square, right? You can't get much more professional than that. It's like $1 million of stuff in there. I'm doing everything I can do in there from this chair.
Yeah.
Right? This chair, this lazy boy chair with the feet up. I can do the exact same thing. And it still boggles my mind. I still have the expensive equipment. It's probably a few $1,000s of equipment here, but it doesn't compare to the stuff in studio. But now that the world is kind of going back to normal, you got to phase out of the pandemic. Now, you as a business owner, how are you going to pivot from people going back in business? Because the online factor is still going to be there. It's always going to be there. But it's not going to be the same as it was in 2020 and 2021. So how do you plan on pivoting?
Correct. So I'm already starting that pivot, because there's been a large part of people who have gone back to pre-pandemic living. So they're not taking those precautions anymore because they're not needed as much. People are getting vaccinated. People are doing other measures, and life is moving on. We are learning to live with this situation. So as that happens, I'm really digging into that networking, because no matter what kind of business you have, you want to be organized and you want to be advertising in some way. That is critical for any business, whether it's during a pandemic or not. So with that being said, a lot of business owners on the back end, they still need a lot of help with organizing things, having CRMs, following up. And it's really doing that networking to making sure that those overwhelmed business owners are getting those services. In addition to, I really stress to a lot of my clients that social media is huge. Billions of people are on social media each and every day. Think about it. You go to the doctor's office, what are you doing? You're scrolling through your phone.
Yep.
And more than likely you're on social media of
Yep.
some sort, whether that be TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. Most people like to watch videos at this point. If they can't because they're in a doctor's office, they're doing reading, right? But you're scrolling. So that is important, because if you think about your own social media page, your private page, think about all the people that you have on there. Can you remember who on your page does say is a travel agent, is a realtor, is a mortgage lender? How about the one that does insurance? If they're not consistently posting, you don't remember. But if you have that one person who's consistently posting every couple days during the week, hey, I got this new deal going on, or there's this new thing going on. When it comes time for you to want to book that vacation, change your insurance, or, whatever it may be, buy a car, have family photos done, you're going to remember that specific person because they're constantly posting. And so they're bringing to what I call your top of mind awareness. Mm-hmm. And when you maintain that in any business, you're going to get more business over the long run, because not only are they going to remember you, they're going to go to you, and then they're going to refer you. So not only did you get one side of business, now you've gotten potentially two, and it just trickles downhill and becomes a domino effect. So really stressing that to my clients has been huge. And the fact that they have gone through this last 2 years and they've seen it with their own eyes, continuing that momentum is critical. And that's how I'm using that to my advantage, because it's huge.